United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Morning.
We need to make an addition to the agenda.
Yes, I got a late call from the DNR. They needed a form to continue with this environmental covenant for the landfill, and it's a proof of ownership, basically. Ben has the form. It's just, we need the chairman to sign it.
Okay,
Or
do we
vice
need
chair.
action on that?
I just want to make sure we do everything right.
Right.
That's why I thought I'd want to put it
Well, I
on
make
there.
a motion, we add that item to our agenda.
I'll second.
Okay, and then, is that the only addition?
That's the only addition. I have.
With that, and I make a motion to approve agenda as amended.
Second.
So the first one, all in favor?
Aye.
Second,
Aye.
all in favor?
Okay, thanks, Abe.
General public concern.
Well, minutes. The,
Just
here, correct?
go ahead and read that one out.
What's going on?
I read through the minutes
See, then-
from last week and I didn't see anything out of place,
Looks
so
like what happened. That's what I go by.
I would make a motion to accept the minutes from October 9th.
I second Bruce's motion.
You can speak for a minute.
Anybody want to be the spokesman for the group? Do you want on the agenda or not?
We can't get on the agenda, we've already amended.
Oh, that's what he's.
We would just like a spokesperson or
But he's
two.
not having a whole lot of luck getting anybody wanting to talk.
Okay, we can file in on this and there ain't too many chairs.
Welcome.
Oh, you got a. First,
She did want to be the, she did want to say.
Okay,
this minute, Dave, we got a first and a second on the minutes, but we didn't vote on it. while you were on.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
All right, general public concerns. I think everybody's for the second one, so.
Yeah,
well,
yeah, I'm gonna write,
let's be general public concerns, if nobody's on the agenda.
Yeah, speak right, speaking over the call in here. See what we find out.
Who wants to be the spokesman?
I can be. Barry, Catherine Barry.
Okay, you're up.
Oh, want me to go right now?
Yeah.
This is general public concerns, no,
Come on in.
none of this is on the agenda, so we can put it under public concern.
You can step around
Yeah,
there.
slide all the way around. Fill it in.
what?
I get
Just
everybody.
the
in.
rowdy ones, we want to keep towards the door though.
Yeah.
Get everybody in here?
No, not
No,
yet.
they're still coming, there's a couple more.
There's a couple chairs that can sit up front.
One over there.
So I don't know that I'm necessarily speaking for everyone, but, for myself and, the community, the Blair subdivision, there's just a great concern about all of the many objections to the quarry that's, proposed to be mined near our home, within a couple blocks of our home. So everything from air pollution, noise pollution, traffic hazards, safety hazards, real estate values going down, risk of the dam, the Rutland Dam, the community in Rutland. I was expecting to talk right away, so I don't know if I'm remembering everything. Our wells, the risks to our wells, damage to our wells, to our foundations. Just the. So I've lived in the community for the Blair subdivision for just under 2 years. My husband and I purchased our house because we like the peacefulness, quiet. We have a few acres of land, and we would not have purchased that house if we had any idea that this was a possibility. We wouldn't. And so now, even just the topic of this has already reduced our real estate value. A month ago, I could have sold my house for more than I could sell for now. So that's a big deal, because we spent a lot, probably more than we would have otherwise, but we really, really like the area. The agricultural kind of peacefulness, the land. Never did we think we'd be listening to, mining within a couple blocks of our house, and the traffic that's gonna go by, the safety hazards for children, the dust that's gonna be kicked up. I mean, it's, I think, just,
I'll piggyback off what you said. We bought 26 acres about 5 years ago, and it's been a 4-year process of cleaning it up, and we built a new home and we put more money into that place than we probably should have. And we got a ways to go to get on the backside of that, and we definitely need something like this. Agreeing with our value. I guess my thought is the years it take us to recoup that cost, it's obviously I'm here for that reason. And this was to benefit one person.
and I think that's huge. If we had a big long list of positives for Humboldt, maybe that'd be different. I don't know that it would be, but maybe, but I can't think of any positives. Except for the one person that will have to gain. I mean, there's definitely nothing positive for me, for my family. And I just I don't even see that limestone is that big of a need in our area, that we need to start allowing somebody to mine on top of people's lives, basically.
Can't take us, oh, you know.
No, I'm done.
I'll reiterate what everybody said here. I want to get on the values a little more. There's a study done of mines opening up, and like within a half mile, it dropped property values by 40%. And I just don't think that it's my job to subsidize a mine to that extent. Also, I've been in the area, I lived there for 42 or 3 years now. The subdivision has been platted for close to 50. And I know there's some others here that's been, 46, 7 years, Gary? Something like that. So there's been some long-term residents that'll be within 2 blocks of where the mining is taking place, or, well, the proposed mining to take place. And I guess the main thing, it's been closed since the late 50s, early 60s. The main thing I remember it being used for was recreation. You can hardly get through there on a summer day. The kids were fishing and swimming. In fact, I think a lot of people here were probably guilty of that, huh? Sweating until they passed it off 2 years ago. Bruce?
I might have been.
So anyway, there's just absolutely no upside, and the downsides are fairly severe, so. Thank you.
Anybody else want to speak? Okay, Randy, you're up.
I guess I'll give a report on what everybody's talking about. How's that sound?
Nice.
Figured that's why you were here.
Yeah. Now we got him, Dave.
That's the thing I bet.
Close.
Sandy's here.
A couple weeks ago, I told you we had a special exception use application for the quarry area by Rutland. And what I put together here, the front pages that you have is basically a summary of the minutes. The minutes are quite lengthy, and so I'm still in the process of completing those. So I just made a summary for you here, and I'll explain the the process that we went through. It was October 12th that we met. We actually moved the meeting from this room down to the magistrate's room. And as you can see, we kind of filled the place up, so. The hearing was called to order. Had the approval of the agenda. I did introductions. Stated the purpose of the hearing, special exception use application by Cole Anderson for limestone quarry, which is commercial, in an A2 agricultural district. In your packet is a series of maps. You can look at that. The county district map is there and shows the location, along with the other maps that are listed there. The procedure of the hearing was done by requirements of the ordinance and Article 14, Section 404, the standards, that is also in your packet. I know you've seen those before, but I thought I'd put those in there. So just a reminder, those are the standards that the Board of Adjustments must follow in granting a special exception use. And the language of down below there in small print, if there is to be a review, then by any person, but that's the language from the ordinance. And so it refers to Chapter 337 of the Iowa Code. So the decision made could be asked to be reviewed through that process. Presentation, I did a site visit probably a couple of months ago with the owner and his attorney. They were inquiring about what was necessary for applying for a special exception use. I gave them all the documentation. I emphasized the requirements of those standards. And they, it was probably 3 weeks ago, maybe a little longer, that I received the application. I processed that as required by the ordinance. And the ordinance references are listed there. Article 6, 13, 14, 17, and 18. As soon as I got that, I have 10 days to complete that permit process. I had to check with the Board of Adjustment members on first available date that would work for them. And the 12th was. I then placed a public notice in the newspaper. And the ordinance says if feasible to send letters to anyone that lives within 500 feet. As I told you before, there's a little discrepancy there because one part of the ordinance says 200 feet. So that's something we'll have to look at. But I sent letters out. I also sent them to people that were further away from that and also the city of Rutland. The presentation then went from my explanation to the applicants, Cole Anderson, his attorney, Ernest Kirsten, and I think his name was Kevin Empens. He was the operating company for the owner. And I believe he said he would be doing the crushing operations. Do I have that right, Dave? Right.
They also hired a dynamite company to come in and dynamite and blast.
Then the documents the owner provided, and you have those there. I don't expect you to look at those all at one time, and because this is just a report, and the minutes, the lengthy minutes will discuss that. But the documents were provided was the application, platted survey, reasons to approve, an aerial view with quarry operations and locations. Now, the last page that you have of the quarry or of the aerial view shows their presentation. And I have a larger view that I'll show you here in a minute. Operation details, basically, again, limestone blasting company and details affected the surrounded areas. The Board of Adjustments then had questions to the applicant on liability. And the applicant said that, I got a spelling check there, it's a bonding and insurance. he has that. Blasting operations, person that does the blasting, or the company would do the blasting, was explained by the excavation person there. The accuracy, as I recall, said it was in the milliseconds. It's controlled by computer to alleviate some sound, vibration, and so on.
They set the dynamite off by millisecond intervals.
Right.
So it's not.
Kind of like what you'd see probably in a building demolition system. The factors involved were water testing, drainage, and wells, the sound of operations and blasting within the area, traffic safety, increased traffic and safety, environmental factors of dust, and changing of the living factors. Owner addressed almost all of those, did not have the answers for some of the questions that were asked. The applicant did present some documents prior to the hearing, presented also some documents at the hearing itself. The property also, if you look at that drawing, maybe I should show you that now. If I get it up, not get it upside down. This would actually be the aerial view of what was proposed. There would be a berm here across. The four parcels are here. He does not own this parcel as of now. He's looking to acquire that property, which would extend his operation down into this area. And then also would probably change then the entrance to the whole operation. They would probably start in this area of excavation, and they have done core drilling. So obviously they would have done their homework on what's actually there. The Board of Adjustment members, some brought up the fact that this is on a limestone shelf, not just this particular area. And so that is also a factor. Drainage from that, you can see here, would drain. Cole owns these properties as well. Drainage would come across through here, and this would be a sediment area here. So the water would be brought into the river after the sedimentation. I'll go on to the next page. You're gonna follow along. We then had a presentation by the attendees. I didn't count them all, but approximately 30 to 35 people. And approximately 11 people presented opposition for approval. 0 people presented a support for the approval. I have listed there the basic concerns. I have the names of the people that presented and their concerns. That will be in the length minutes that you will get. As you can see there, change of living, decreased property values and tax assessments, health risk, known and unknown, and medical bills, advantages to the operations of the quarry, and traffic safety in area, and Rutland in high accident area already. Water, well, and drainage, blasting, causing sound, vibration, groundwater problems, Rutland Dam, and possibly the campground. Loss of dream homes in the quiet area. And special exemption use standards addressed, all were referenced by various presenters. All 14 of those standards were addressed. And I would say probably 6 or 8 were probably addressed the most. Would that be fair to say, Dave, as I recall? The Board of Adjustments then discussed and deliberated, talked about the lack of time to review some of the application documents that they hadn't received. Anything that I received from the owner and his attorney, I sent to the Board of Adjustments immediately. So they had at least some or most of the documentation before the hearing. They talked about the area effects, the property values, the uncertainty of application presentation, and the answers to those questions. The motion was then made to disapprove the special exception use application by Cole Anderson. The vote was 4 yes, meaning for disapproval, 1 abstain. Motion passed, and then we adjourned. Hearing minutes will be sent to the applicant, attorney, Board of Adjustments, and Board of Supervisors when I have those complete, which I hope will be within the next day or so. And so that's basically a summary of what went there. I have actually the agenda along with the plat of survey and the information of and the permit that was provided, and then the maps, and then also those 14 standards. That was the basic operation of the hearing. Everything went pretty well. Took about 2 hours, something like that.
Almost 3.
Almost 3, was it? So my hand was tired from writing, for sure. So anybody need to, I'm gonna set this down because my arm's getting
Go ahead.
tired. Okay. Any questions? You, as the Board of Supervisors, have 30 days to review this. And if you request for a review, that review would go to the Board of Adjustments. They can either say, yes, we will review, or they can deny the review. If they say yes to the review, there would be another hearing, which would be an open public hearing again. And at that time, you could hear more testimony. And then they would make a decision of staying with their first decision. They could say, we reverse our decision, or they could approve the decision with special exceptions or special conditions and safety factors. And those are quite broad, meaning that if you had one of the standards that they had concerns about, they could stipulate certain things on there that they then would approve that standard. It doesn't say in the ordinance to what extent those could be. They could be quite varied. And so, again, those standards are what they have to follow. You look at the standard sheet there, I'd suggest you look at how the language is written. It's very important that everybody understands the Board of Adjustments can't just do whatever they want to. They can't approve unless those standards are met. And so, and again, so basically you have 30 days to review, to bring that to the Board of Adjustments. And also individuals that would not agree with the decision, have them through the court operation to bring that back.
So you, several minutes ago, you said something about not all the information was presented or in a timely fashion, a timely manner.
The bonding information and the insurance information was brought by Cole at the time of the meeting, was not prior to that. And then also some of the questions by the Board of Adjustments, he did not have the answer to at that time.
So will that information be given? Or you,
After the decision, it really can't be, but if there was a review, then it could be.
Randy, what questions did you ask him that he could not answer at the time?
Most of it was about some of the groundwater, as I recall, maybe Dave can maybe speak to it also, but effects of the sediment, also dust was brought up a lot, and the methods to mitigate the dust problems. And Dave, you wanna, is there anything else that I missed that he did not have answers to?
Well, a lot of it, excuse me. This is our ordinance. Right here, you've got a copy of it, Sandy. This is our ordinance that we go by. And this is his rebuttal on it. He answered 7 questions and none of the questions are on our section of standards that he had to go by. So he didn't answer all 14 questions. And we don't know where he got this, his rebuttal on it. We don't know where he got it because it's none are in our 14. So actually, he did not answer any of the 14 questions we had.
And I had requested that he send that to me, and that I forward that to the Board of Adjustment members. And he put it in that form. And like Dave said, I'm not sure exactly where he got it or why he put it in that form, but that was his reasoning. I don't know if he was basing them on the standards that I referred to him and just gave those as a overall, or some type of description of why they felt it should be approved. He may have used the 14 standards, but he didn't reference those in the paper that you see in front of you.
Well, Michael, I have a,
That answer your question, Sandy?
Yes,
Thank you.
I'm gonna date myself because I don't ever remember this thing being used. It's always been just the,
According to the attorney and their history behind it, it was operating somewhere into the 60s.
Early 60s.
And then-
so I was born in the early 60s, so it's always been just the whole.
Yeah, and his description of when I met with them at the site, that the reason that they stopped the operation was they didn't have the pumping capability back then to get rid of the water fast enough. But in today's world,
We do.
we do have.
So my question is, do they give you any idea as to what percentage of rock is still in that? I
They
mean,
didn't provide that, no,
because that's what they're after. I mean,
exactly.
if there's 70% or,
They did not indicate that.
And also, as we've seen, quarries grow quite rapidly sometimes.
yeah,
Right. The only thing that was in this special exception use were those 4 parcels. That's the only thing it applied to. If there was any other properties that would be involved, would have to go through the same process. And on the one that's on the south side of that, you'll see that it shows buildings there and signage. Those would have to go through a building permit on their own. It still could be part of the operation if the Board of Adjustment said, we'll approve it, and we'll include that. That couldn't happen because it was just the 4 parcels that the application was for.
There could be up to 40 trucks a day coming out of there. And we've already had a lot of accidents on them corners and them curves over the years. I know of 2 fatalities and I don't know how many accidents it's been in there.
I
The
asked Ben about
dust,
the pipes to that sediment, which would go under our road, right?
He's going under the road and then dumping in a waterway that runs on to back to the quarries.
So it's not pipe
It's
at all.
not a pipe all the way back. As
Right.
we questioned him on that, and he said there was a natural waterway there that he was gonna dump into and then back to the 2 quarries in the back. And he's already filled in the riverbank for the north quarry. He told me he could drive his pickup over it now. Years ago, I remember taking a boat back into that quarry when the water was high. You could come right out of the river and back into it.
Okay.
one factor that was addressed was with the blasting. How does that affect things that are unknown? You know, probably things that would be unknown until they actually happen. You know, mainly with vibration but also, as you can see, these people that were there and that spoke are very concerned about changing of their living conditions now. And those are addressed specifically in standard number 1. And so because of the testimonies, the board discussed those things, and that's why they voted to disapprove. From my estimation, I can only tell you what I observed there. I can't have a say one way or the other. I'm just the informant. So,
Well, the other question, which was we need to think about too, is what will that blasting do to the old dam that's there in Rutland? I mean, has anybody thought about that, or has he got an engineer to look at any of that?
That was brought up that night or last week when we had the meeting, and there was no response to it.
probably one of those unknowns.
Also, the park across the river, they just put $200,000 into that park.
Mhm.
And they're worried about that, and people camping over there in the dust and.
They were looking at also expanding that campground, as they mentioned. Possibly.
Yep.
All I have, unless you have other questions.
Nope.
Thank you for your
Thank you
report.
for the in-depth review. Does the board wish to make any decisions?
I believe so.
So we got 30 days to review it and
Yeah.
get back to Randy and the Board of Adjustment.
So this will have to get put on the agenda, correct? And we'll have to,
Only if you
within 30
want,
days. Pardon?
only if you want to make a change, Sandy.
Oh, if we want, okay, got it, okay. I must have missed that part.
So
Thank you.
clarification from Randy in regards to that.
Mhm.
So we're in a 30-day, you presented us with information and we have
Right.
30 days to.
Right.
So if it
If-
goes to the
All the,
31st, it goes back to what they've already done.
Yeah,
Right.
stands,
It's
Well,
out
If.
it stands
if we
by
so
their
choose.
by their
decision.
decision.
the ordinance simply states that it would be, the information, if you would want a review, comes to me, and then I advance that on to the Board of Adjustments. And at that time, we would do the same process. We would look at, dates. And a second hearing would be held. Letters, contacting the newspaper, all those things would take place again.
All right.
Anything else? Okay, thank you, folks. Thank you,
Thanks,
Randy.
everybody, for taking the time to show up here today.
Thank you.
We appreciate it when people take interest in what's going on in the county, so thank you.
8:30 every Monday morning.
Yep.
We like to see people in.
Yep.
Bring donuts. then.
I'll catch you next.
Well, my question is, like over in Gilmore, when, in the new sign, if you're going down that road, no blast, and they stop. No, that's scary though, is when you're running up, and they're big.
I was over by Iowa Falls one time driving. Right, they didn't stop driving. Rock this big, hit the road, and you're 50 feet in front of it, about the size of.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't want to. We could have really had a hell of a boss.
Just make sure that we have that date, so.
30 days.
30 days, so we know.
Probably there, 30 days probably from the board.
From their board.
The 6 days, so 30 days from now. 30 days from now.
From now.
Oh, is it from when they presented to us?
From them, yeah, it would, wouldn't it have, yeah, from presented,
Okay.
30 days after today, or when the meeting was on the 12th, okay.
After today. Which is
Yeah.
presented today.
Okay,
All right, moving on to the landfill.
okay, this, I got a call from Dave Minicus, he got a call from the DNR that they needed proof of ownership and intentional use of this property of the old landfill. Like we have no intentions of turning it into a ski run or some other purpose. It's just stating it's just gonna be grass for a quarry, yeah. So Ben helped me get it all filled out, so we just need, chairman or vice chair to sign it. Send it back down to the DNR.
What is that called then?
So this is a property interest form. It basically states that there's no lien on the property. There's no additional vested interest by any individuals. There's no mortgage notes. We own it free and clear, basically. Is what the
Yeah, and
form
we have no
is.
intentions of, like you say, leasing it, developing it into something, because some landfills do that.
And that is the way it is.
Yeah,
So we need
ours
to,
is just gonna be a pile of grass
well,
Forever.
forever.
I mean, this is on the agenda. I make a motion that we authorize the chairman, or chairperson to sign the property interest form in regards to the old landfill.
Yeah, thank you.
I will second. So Rick doesn't have.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Get signed and sealed. Okay, nothing else on the agenda, go down to committee report.
All right, on Tuesday, the 10th, that morning, we had a public safety commission meeting, or that Monday, or excuse me, Tuesday morning, and that was my one official meeting last week.
I had the public safety meeting also Tuesday morning. And then I dealt with Ben on this form here that we got late or middle of the week. And that was it.
Think I had any official meetings. I had a person call me on Friday, in reference to the closures over in Gilmore City. Wondering about some of the CRP ground that was being baled, and removed. So I called and visited with Mike Borland, who we remember a long
Oh, yeah.
time ago, he was here in reference to that area. Also invited him because the way it sounds, they have pretty much got everything taken care of, everything's signed, the plans have been accepted. The money was allocated and they're getting ready to start.
Start the turtle, I mean, the turtle race has been going on.
The turtle race that's been going on for umpteen years is,
5
they
years.
are off and running. Hopefully, I told him, check with Trish and see if he's in the area, that he could give us an update as to what and how and where, and thank him for what they've done. But he said the permits that were needed to be signed for the CRP ground was all taken care of, and everything was in motion. So sometime this winter, he said when things slow down, if he's in the area, he would stop. So that was our conversation. That's all I did.
Okay, I had no official, but I did get a call last night regarding the exception use. And the person didn't just vocalize to me that he did not want to have that accepted. So and it's good to see that many people involved and wanted to come and get forward. I think that's a great show. That's all I had.
I also had one of those calls too from a person that lives out there and.
Yep.
And said that he had to go to work today, but his vote, him and his wife's were no. So
Right.
we appreciate support from the board.
Yep.
And I got the same call, he was there at the meeting the other night too. And expressed his concerns. Let's see, Wednesday I had the animal shelter. And they're working on getting some more rock in and the benefit February 4th, I think it is, they're gonna have a fundraiser again. So they're working on that.
How are they gonna top a wedding? They had a wedding like.
They got a divorce.
Got a divorce?
Yeah, cause he's seeing other girls.
That dirty dog.
The love life of a dog. Okay, and then Thursday I had that Board of Adjustment meeting. I also had 6 calls that day. Well, one Wednesday and then the rest of them Thursday. All of them against it, and they brought up a lot of questions. About the dam. Some of the questions was the dust, the well blasting, city water, park with effects. The city park, well closures to the site. Well, closest to the site, we're gonna bother them. And dumping water into the river, and if their silt goes down there, we got enough silt behind the dam. And, the Rutland Dam, it's in bad shape now, and if they start blasting, they're gonna knock it out. Loosen it up where it'll go out, so that was some of the concerns that they had. Didn't have anybody for, but I had 6 against. It was a very interesting meeting. I think we started at 6:30 and it was going on 9 or a little after 9 when I got home. Other than that, I got the same call everybody else did last night. That's all I had. Remind everybody that the conservation meeting on the dam is at 5 o'clock this Wednesday. If anybody wants to show up, make sure we have an agenda. Posted that, there will be 3 or more supervisors just in case. That looks like all I had. Anything else to come before the board?
My life, I'm not on the agenda.
Go ahead.
I just, question about north of that, proposed ordinance change or whatever. County has about 40 acres in there. Is that designated as a park or
Wilderness land, I believe, right now.
what's that?
I think it's wilderness land right now, isn't it?
Well, that's what it is, and then,
On the north side of the bridge, is that where you're talking?
no, actually on the south side of the bridge.
Outside the river. You go back to the west and then it's on the north side of gravel.
Oh,
Where it is right
Has
here.
to stand there.
Where 205th Street goes across over to
Right.
Gilmore City. Right here, I believe, is
That's where they access the backside of the dam to
20,
fish.
section 29. And the county owns 26 acres right there. It's right across the road and goes down to the river. There's 26 acres around there that the county owns.
Does it go all the way up to the dam?
No,
No, it don't. Close to it.
goes close.
That's what I used to go back in there fishing when I was
Yeah,
young.
I don't, well, it might go clear to it, but it goes real close.
Yeah,
Yeah.
footpath.
Yeah, it goes real close to the dam. Well, wait a minute. Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yes, it does, because it goes past the dam according to this. It comes clear over here and the dam's over here.
Okay. It's been a long time since I've been back in there.
So you're not gonna get arrested now, but
What's that?
I said you won't get arrested.
Yeah.
Yeah, it goes, that road that goes back into the river is on county property. And then it looks to me like it makes a jog here. If you look at the left there.
That area would also be made too. Meaning that it would be mingled with, agricultural can be mingled with other uses.
Okay, well, nothing else. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Adjourned, 9:15. Now, does anybody know how to shut that owl
We got the old man here, he's trained.
All right, we'll see you guys. Thank you.
off?
Bye.